Hello, we're going to be talking about polynomials today. Let me back this up. I would start somewhere in the middle. Now, if you notice here, this says 7(3) polynomials. We are skipping the first two sections, which are on monomials. We'll go back to those. But we first need to talk about what a polynomial is. So we're going to find the degree of a polynomial. We're going to arrange the terms of a polynomial in descending order, and we're going to name polynomials based on the number of terms. So those three different things that we're going to go ahead and do. Now, we're going to start with this bottom one here. So let's talk about what is a term. A term is separated by a plus or a minus. So for example, 2x plus 4 is two terms because this plus here separates it. We have a 2x and a 4. X squared minus x cubed plus 1 is three terms because there's a separation here and a separation here. So this is one term, two terms, three terms. If it's one term, it's called a monomial. Two terms is called a binomial. Three terms is called a trinomial. And four or more, we just start calling a polynomial at that point. So very generic at that point, poly meaning many. All right, so let's take a look at some examples here. Identify if they are polynomials and are they a monomial, binomial, or trinomial. So let's look at this first one here. We have, is this a polynomial? Yes. The only time that we don't have a polynomial is when we have divide or negative exponents, or even some square roots would count too. So all of these are polynomials except for C here because of that divide here. That's not a polynomial, so that one would be a no. So we can't find out if it's a binomial or not. So this one here, how many terms does it have? Well, it has two separate terms. It's separated by a minus. Now we could add those together or subtract them. I understand that, but it is a binomial the way it's written. What about this next one? How many terms do we have? We got one here, and one here for three. So it's a trinomial. As I said, we have a no because those are divided by, and we can't have that. And the last one here, there are no pluses or minuses, so this is just one term. So that's our monomial. So let's look at this. No dividing, no negative exponents, no square roots, so that's good. So it is a polynomial. Now, is it a monomial, binomial, or trinomial? Again, we separate it at pluses or minuses. We got three terms, so it is most assuredly a trinomial. This one, -8. Just one term. There's no pluses or minuses. That's a monomial. Here's a negative exponent. We can't have that, so that's none of these. And here, 8r minus 5s. There's a separation there. There's an 8r and the 5s, so there's two of them, so it is a binomial. 3y to the 5th, only one term, no pluses or minuses, so monomial again. What's a degree? The degree of a term is the sum of all of its exponents. Now sometimes there's only one exponent, like negative x cubed, so that's just a degree of 3. Or there's ones with multiple exponents, like this one, 14x squared y to the 3rd. Again, I just take these here and it's 5. So 2 plus 3, which is 5. The degree of a whole polynomial is the highest term degree. So if each of these are a term, we're just going to take the bigger one. So what do I mean? Here I have an example. It has a degree of 3. Well, why does it have a degree of 3? Because the degree of this one's 2, the degree of this one's 3, and this is considered a constant. So it doesn't have any x's, so it has 0 x's, so it has a degree of 0. And now I look at these numbers, 2, 3, and 0. Which one's the biggest? Well, it's just 3. So each term has their own degree. And then whichever term is the biggest is the one that we want. So this has a degree of 3. Now if it's a degree of 0, that's called a constant. Degree of 1, just an x is linear. Squared is a quadratic. Cubed here is a cubic. And then we just kind of keep going on. But normally at that point we just start calling it a 4th degree or a 5th degree, so on and so forth. So let's go ahead and talk about these, or have some possibilities. So let's look at this one here. This one has 4 different terms. So look at the first term. This first term has 0 variables, so that has a degree of 0. This one has a degree of 1. This is a degree of 2, a 1 for each of them. And this one has a degree of 3. So those are our different terms. We have 0, 1, 2, and 3, and which one's the highest? Well, of course, 3 is. Well, now looking at the middle one here, we can go ahead and each term is separate again, the 9x, the negative 2x, and the negative 4. So the degree here is 2, then 1 and 0. The highest one of those numbers is 2. And for the last one here, 2 plus 5 plus 1 adds up to be 8. There's only one term, so it has to be 8 also. So we can go ahead and name these by not only their degrees, but also their terms. Like this one is a cubic polynomial. Cubic because it's a third degree. Remember, degree 2 is called a quadratic. So this would be a quadratic trinomial. And this one is an 8th degree monomial. So we can use those kind of different terminology to go ahead and express what these are like. All right, so find the degree of this one. Now this again is a polynomial, so we have to do a degree of each term. There are 4 different terms. So AB is degree of 2, B is degree of 1, AC squared is 3, and this is a constant, so it's 0. So again, which one is the highest? Well, A is. What about here? This one's degree 2, degree 4, and a degree of 3. So which one's the biggest? 4 is. And here we have 7 and 7. Again, I'm writing these numbers in here. You'll normally not have those. But 7 and 7, well, they're both 7, so the biggest one is obviously 7. All right, the last thing that we're going to do is descending order. What do I mean by descending order? I mean the biggest one first, the highest degree first, down to the lowest degree. So a constant like this is always going to be at the end. When we're doing our answers, we always want to put them in descending order. We always want the biggest one to start with first. So let's take a look at this. We have 16, 14x cubed, 2x, and negative x squared. Well, that's x to the 0, x to the third, 1, and 2. So my degrees are 0, 3, 1, and 2. And so I'm going to put them in order. I'm going to put the 3 first, then the 2, then the 1, then the 0. We want to make sure that we put them in that order, and that's how we write our answer. So doing that again, the one with the biggest exponent is 4x to the 4, so that's got to go first. Then 3x squared, 3x cubed, then minus x squared plus 2. So B, of course, is our answer here. Now, they want it so that x are in descending order. So they basically are telling me to ignore the y's. So we have some y's here, and they would normally go into our degree. But they're saying for this problem, because of the way that this is written, just do the x's. So this is x to the 0, x to the second, x to the first, and x to the third. So which one comes first? The one with the 3. So the negative 4x cubed's got to go first. So negative 4x cubed y. Then the 7x squared, then the negative 12, and then the 8x. One more time. I went ahead and write them out. X to the 0 again, x to the second, x to the first, x to the fourth. So there's a 4 here, so that's got to go first, negative 9. Again, don't worry about what the symbology is in front, whether it's negative or positive. That doesn't matter. You just take what's in front of it. Then the squared comes next, then the linear, and then the constant. And one for you to try. X to the fifth, it's got to go first, followed by x to the third, and then x squared, and then our constant. And that's what I have for you today.